Is intelligence really overrated in leadership? Because I see these young people, young coaches who say big things. Nobody knows from their what background or advantage they are coming up. But with that confidence they say it, that people get blinded. What do you have to say about that?
Is intelligence everything? Now you look at all our Shastras, there have been many intelligent kings, many intelligent leaders, many intelligent politicians. Have they all gone on to build standing gains for human society? The answer will be in most cases not. Intelligent people sooner or later create trouble for their own selves. All the smartness that we try in business these days, it's just anxiety which is shaped as innovation. Most innovation truly is not innovation today in corporates. They're just shortcuts. They're just anxiety packaged as innovation.
If today Krishna has to advise to any startup founder, what do you think that advice will be?
If Krishna were to advise businesses, what would he say is, if you look at the Kundali of a person, our Jyotish Shastra very clearly can help you understand, do you have these qualities or not? Now, if you don't have these qualities, psychology tells you, business wisdom tells you, you can't build a business. There are people getting on stage and saying, follow your passion. What is a passion? Delivering groceries, was that your passion? Not at all. You saw a business opportunity to mint millions and you put some Kirana store guys out of business. So opportunism. So
exactly.
Intelligence is surviving today on opportunism.
What's one less every 25-year-old professional right now should learn? What you feel?
Pick up one or two things and really become a master at it. Sant Kabir has said so beautifully that धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए मारी सींचे सौकड़ा ऋतु आवे फल होए.
In today's world, we all are exposed to a lot of knowledge, lot of AI tools. We have access to all kind of information we can imagine. Compared to what previously, I think 10 years back, we were supposed to have. Today, what access we have is a very different ball game altogether. However, there's one thought still disturbs me. And I think that will be happening with you all. If we have access to all the management books, if we have access to all the coaches, consultant, information on LinkedIn, still we all have the anxiety level of a different level. We all are struggling with our businesses at this time. Why we don't have successful businesses more at this time? Why we all still struggling to make the choices? We have many choices, but still we fail. We have AI which is writing our emails. We have proper AI tools which are doing our work. And now we cannot even complain about our team who is not working for us because we have automation with us. Still, we all are struggling. To answer this, we have somebody who is known for his coaching style, who is known for his Vedic wisdom, Mr. Sai Kumar Chandran. He is one of the best we have known in this industry, and today he will be answering all these questions of ours. Mr. Sai Chandra, how are you?
Namaste. All well.
Namaste. I'm so happy that you accepted our proposition that please come on board, because we know currently many people would like to know from you that ancient wisdom, because though we are modern, we have all the knowledge, but somewhere we have realized that we have forgotten the wisdom, the ancient charm to do the work and how to acquire the knowledge. So, would like to know from you, starting, what has changed today when it comes to leadership? What one thing you see has changed completely from previously what was there and today what's happening in the market?
Very interesting question. I think glad to be here. The whole concept of the long game show, let's start from there.
Yes.
The question we simply have to start asking is, how many people are playing the long game today versus playing the quarter to quarter game, evaluation to evaluation game? And I think that's where one of the biggest problem lies, Pragya. So what happens is, you have a lot of information today. and you have exposure, which is possibly the best that ever has been. Books have been automated, intelligence can be drawn out, data can be captured. What is that feeding? Intelligence. Is intelligence everything? Right? Now you look at all our Shastras, there have been many intelligent kings, many intelligent leaders, many intelligent politicians, many intelligent institution builders. Have they all gone on to build standing gains for human society? The answer will be in most cases not. Intelligent people sooner or later create trouble for their own selves.
That I agree.
The differentiation is there are some of those intelligent people who, through application of their intelligence over a period of time, generate insights and they become wise. Intelligence is figuring out an answer and knowing what are the best things to do. Wisdom is knowing if something should be done or not done at all. Like truth. What is the time for speaking up for the truth? Or going deep and doing some work. What is the time to keep your mouth shut and go deep and dig yourself, deep into that work and do something meaningful? That's wisdom. Wisdom is knowing when people are more valuable than technology. We are living in a world today where people believe that great things can be achieved with technology. Yes, they can be, but who will drive that technology? It's people. So ultimately what you have to say is great things can be driven by people with the right technology, or the right people with the right type of technology. That's wisdom. So if you ask me what's the one big thing that's changed, is intelligence sharpened up so much, so fast. People did not pause to think that, is my intelligence even working in my favor? And that's where a lot of people have failed because of their intelligence. In fact, in most institutions, most organizations, last 20 years, if you see, they came up and they went down. You had somebody or the other who was intelligent at the helm of affairs. Still the company failed. It was because those intelligent people did not have the wisdom to do the right things at the right time. What are the right things at the right time? Sometimes you have to take things by the laws of nature. Sant Kabir has said so beautifully that "Dhire dhire re mana, dhire sab kuch hoye, mari siche saukada, ritu aave phal hoye." So literally transliterated into English, that means "Dhire dhire re mana," which means poet is asking the man to take it really slow. "Dhire sab kuch hoye," that everything happens slowly at its right time. No matter how much the gardener waters the plant, "Mari siche saukada, ritu aave phal hoye," which is only when the right weather comes will the plant give the flower and the fruit.
As you said, people are more intelligent right now. I agree to you that people have more intelligence, people are more aware, more exposed. We call them smart leaders. But these smart leaders are making more awful choices ever.
Yeah, they are.
Recently, there's a news on Meta. There's a documentary also. So they're using AI. Meta is using AI so that certain kind of content should not be published or get exposed to the people. However, there are people who are smart again. They are changing a slight spelling of those words, uploading that kind of content, and that content is being even run through a proper ad, and they are not being caught. Now those channels are taking you to the certain platform. There's a dark web happening. What do you have to say about that?
See, I'll come back to what I said in the last answer. Wisdom isn't there. And a lot of people, because of that lack of wisdom, do several very wrong things with businesses. Okay. Now, in today's times, one of the biggest enemies of business is shortcuts. Okay. So, step one, lack of wisdom is causing what? It is causing us to take shortcuts. These shortcuts sometimes appear in corporate corridors under the quote-unquote term low-hanging fruits.
Yes.
Everybody wants to capture low-hanging fruits, but who's doing the deep work? Everybody wants to put the band-aid solution, but who's doing the deep work? Everybody wants to show that I have this innovative idea because of which we can work around. That's another term that comes up, work around. The moment low-hanging fruit comes, workarounds come up. Do you have a workaround? And senior most leaders will say, do you have a workaround? instead of really going deep and fixing the system. These shortcuts often leads to disasters that someone else has to then pay for. And it's a very dangerous place to be. Now I'll give you a contrast. You go to the armed forces, you go to any life and death business, you go to a ER room, you go to an ICU, right? Or you go to, let's say, a scientific institution where extremely critical research is happening on nuclear data or chemicals, or you go to a iron and steel factory where like thousands of degrees of temperature is there in the furnace, and then you're doing work in that environment. In any of these environments, Pragya, where there is life and death, leaders are aware, they're very trained. Smallest mistake can give me very bad results. So they are conscientious of what to do. Whereas many times in corporate startups, etc., you don't find the negative impact of your shortcut today. You may find it 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 quarters later. Sometimes you don't even get caught merely by chance because everything gets brushed under the carpet. Yes. Unless an audit catches you, unless some regulation changes, or unless someone really sharp who's a whistleblower who doesn't agree with the system speaks up. So the shortcut is one big problem which exists. Do all shortcuts fail? No. Do all shortcuts get caught? No. But are shortcuts damaging? Yes, they are. It's literally saying that you're taking a ship out into the sea, and instead of fixing the ship's hull, you do some patchwork. How long is that patchwork going to stay? Number 2, that lack of wisdom is also causing what is randomness.
Yeah.
Okay. What happens? You take a shortcut here, shortcut there. You're going to run out of shortcuts at some point in time. At some point in time, you will not be able to think of any more smarter ways of doing things. Actually, all this smartness that we try in business these days, it's just anxiety which is shaped as innovation. Most innovation truly is not innovation today in corporates. They're just shortcuts. They're just anxiety packaged as innovation. So at some point in time, when you run out of shortcuts, then you will say, let's try this also, let's try that also. Then you're going all over the place. Suddenly, one town hall and all the strategy changes. Suddenly, one announcement and the direction of the company itself changes. Suddenly, you say, okay, we can't build this product, but let's market it so well that people anyways will buy. So instead of doing R&D and building the product properly, you're using marketing. How long is that going to stay? Marketing will get you the customer. But the product, if it doesn't perform, and the leadership, if it doesn't build trust, the company is going to stay. So look at the number of startups that are failing. Look at the number of big organizations which are trying to so-called pivot, and they're prematurely entering products into the market. Look at them fail. And that failure is because of combination of those two things, shortcuts and randomness. Add to that a third layer, because you brought in AI and all these things. Do all businesses need to use AI? Should they use AI? Or the question is, what should they use AI for? And that is where we have to look at these two words, which is coping and copying. Do we have to cope with technology change? Yes, we have to. Everybody has to. Do I use AI in my work? Yes, you do. All of us. We have to learn. We have to restructure. AI is not the way I learned. I used to research the hardcore way. Go buy books, visit libraries and do research. This was 30 years back when I started. Yeah. But today you can literally access all of that information using AI. So you have to have that research bent of mind to even use AI appropriately. Now you suddenly say that AI is going to replace all my staff, let's say customer service staff. Now you have 100 companies, and let's say those 100 companies are employing 500,000 customer service staffs. If you put out even 70-80% of them, who have you put out of the jobs? You have put paying customers, you have put out taxpayers, you have put out parents who are paying the fees, you have put out consumers, all of these people out of the job. Just coping is not going to be enough.
Yeah.
You're creating so much of societal damage. And then on top of that, you all want to copy. Because they are doing that, we also want to do. So some board reads that another 2 boards have saved $5 million just because they did this one particular thing. They come and impress upon their own board meeting that we also want to do this. Is that even feasible to do? They never ask these questions. Going back and combining those 2 answers for you, where you started asking what is the real problem. So because intelligence is really sharp, it has all the answers. but there is no wisdom. Business leaders are surviving literally today on these three aspects: shortcuts, randomness, and then coping and copying whichever is the best way. Dharma, our Shastras, if you were to bring it into this context, what is Dharma? It is to have the right direction in life. Dharma will never tell you, go and do what you think is right. Dharma tells you, like Sri Krishna told Arjuna in the battlefield, he told him, this is the framework. This is the right framework. Now within this, you do what you're supposed to do. That is Dharma. So bringing that answer back into the business world today, leaders today are doing whatever they feel is right. They don't have those deeply anchored thought processes and philosophies of wisdom where they say, this is the right thing to do. Within that, what does my job, my company need to do? Let's do that. That's missing. The dharmic direction is missing. That's why this is getting so messy. So to that question you asked of people changing a few things and putting things out there, many of them really don't have the fear of consequences.
It has died somewhere in the process. And that's a modern CEO definition maybe.
And it's not died everywhere, but like I said, there are so many places where the consequence of your action comes back to you. Life and death.
It comes.
So the problem with human race is become this, that if we don't have consequences coming at us, we will do bad things. We are doing that on the road, driving the wrong side or driving rash. We are doing that with our life, changing relationships and the dynamics of relationship. We are doing that with our money. We are doing that with our businesses. We are doing that with our children. Look at how parenting has degraded. The problem is really this, that because there is very little fear of consequences and immediate consequences, people tend to do whatever they feel is right.
I agree. They feel it can be carried away or washed off or been under the wraps. Nobody cares. But you know what? When he was saying and talking about everything, the most outstanding thought and you can say a recall happened to me, and we agree with that. So we work as a marketing and branding consultants. We keep meeting people.
Yeah.
And we are under pressure. There are 500,000 people who approach us saying that we would like to work on a barter system. We don't know your product. You are not giving me any efficiency or parameter or anything. How I can vouch for your product when I don't even know what you're doing as a R&D. Going back, recently I met someone, and that person again a skincare brand. Everybody wants to start with their skincare brand because it's so easy. Get your third party manufacturer, pay him 25, 30, 40 lakhs. Get a marketing company, pay them another lakhs, and somehow try to build up in a quarter 5 CR, 10 CR profitable company. That's a shortcut they are looking for. And as we all know, the real estate is so high. So I met a very young founder. I said, why you like investing 1 CR for a business which doesn't even have a proper business model? And the answer was, because I don't have 4 CR to buy a flat. I just have 1 CR and I just want to try my luck. I was like, wow, I'm so impressed that you're openly stating that buying a proper home is very risky. Let me gamble it out here. At least if I invest 1 CR, might, and there are chances, might come back with 5 CR and then I can have a home. I was like, you know what, I liked you for your honesty, but it's not going to work because you will come down to us. Because after using your product, people will not like it. I can't do it. I cannot help it. See, marketing can only make you look good, but till how long? Once people taste your product, use your product, apply your product, the reality will be out. So better put your money somewhere else. Don't do this. So now this is what are happening with us. Would like to know, if all this is happening, all these smart people, young thought, Instagram university, YouTube university, where I see people pushing that, you know what, success, be young teen, do this, what. Somewhere it even shakes my own understanding and foundation because I'm an old school person. I would like to understand from you, is intelligence really overrated in leadership? Because I see these young people, young coaches. I know many who goes out there, who say big things. Nobody knows from their what background or advantage they are coming up. But with that confidence they say it, that people get blinded. What do you have to say about that?
We are a world of 8 billion people.
Yes.
All types will exist. It's as simple as that. So let's just coexist. There will never be a time that the entire world is attuned to the one way or the right way of doing things. Everyone will try their luck. We live in a world today which, if you compare to, let's say, 100 years back, has a lot more of material appeal. Right? And when it comes to material appeal, and that's the times that we live in, if you have appeal, you will attract. If you attract, somebody will want to get you. And that's what a lot of these brilliant minds are trying to do. Brilliance because the education system created that brilliance for them, or the exposure created that brilliance for them. Not brilliant because of experience. Nothing great was built in a day. We have seen organizations reach 5 CR, 10 CR, 100 CR, and then from there, right? Founders ending up in jail, lawsuits, tremendous employment loss, all of that we have seen. So will there be enough and more who will come and create chaos like that? They will. It will continue to happen. So yes, intelligence is overrated. Not just intelligence, there are so many rash words that corporate and HR folks and many of us, I have also done that in my career. We have introduced terms like agile and multitasker and parallel processor and stretch goals. See, the problem with things is that ideas start with a good intent, Pragya. But at some point in time, these ideas lose their relevance. So you have to roll it back. Like if you're running a critical timeline project, would you need somebody agile? Yes, you do. But the fact is the project mode cannot continue forever. You have to turn that project mode into a production mode at some point in time. You have to get something to a certain level of closure and say, okay, the project mode is over. It is set up. It's working. Now let's start doing continuous improvement to get it there. You can get something possibly to a 70% readiness in a short period of time. But to take it to a 99.99% takes time. Go back to your own, our own school results. Many of us have got 70s, 80s in our papers. But to get that 80 to 85?
It's hard work.
85 to 90?
More hard work.
90 to 95? Think about it. And then when it comes to 95 to 100, you really needed luck also on your side. Was it that one question came slightly out of syllabus? Life will keep on throwing out of syllabus questions at you all the time. And intelligence is not going to be able to handle it. Intelligence is knowing what it wants to do. Wisdom is knowing when to do it, when not to do it, what to do, what not to do. Wisdom is doing that if I do this, tomorrow what are the consequences that are going to be? Wisdom is knowing if I don't do this today, what's the consequences are going to be? And that wisdom is only going to come either from sheer experience or if you're very well advised.
You have
So the other thing that happens with some good business leaders is that they depend on good advice because they know they have intelligence. They necessarily don't have the wisdom. Is that breed much smaller? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's very small.
I've seen those very few people, some in government, some in NGOs, some in family-owned businesses, some in corporates. They're everywhere, but they're very, very few. In my experience, less than about 1 or 2% people ask for help.
And thanks to ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude now, even that has stopped.
Yeah, possibly. And then of those people who ask for help, possibly about 58 to 60% are willing to listen and do the right things.
That's something which is important.
And even from that, how many people actually stick to the cycle of change because it takes hard work to do?
A lot of money.
Fortunately, now in the last 3 to 5 years, I've seen some positive changes in India because of things like, people are becoming focused on their health and playing sports and doing so many other things other than their work life. They have started realizing that real life is much different as compared to what that glamorous corporate corridor PowerPoint culture life is. So many people are coming out of PowerPoint culture and doing some heavy work. Numbers are far and few. So my take, intelligence, yes, is overrated. And not just overrated. The problem with intelligence is it is all over the place today, creating ruckus. There are people getting on stage and saying, follow your passion. What is a passion? 5 years back, did you know you wanted to make shoes? Was shoes your passion? Come on, it was just an opportunity that you got.
Seriously.
Right? Delivering groceries, was that your passion? Not at all. You saw a business opportunity to mint millions and you put some kirana store guys out of business. So opportunism. So
exactly.
Intelligence is surviving today on opportunism. So many people in this world, so many people that it's remarkable. 8 billion people on earth. Of that, about 1.5, 1.6 people, 1.6 billion people are in India alone. Every fifth person in the world is an Indian. And tons of those people are still living in India. So, are we going to have all these opportunities all over the place? But these are intelligent people capturing opportunistic moments and doing great things. Will those great things last? Things without fundamentals will break at some point in time. There is always a saturation point.
That I agree. So if I have to sum up, right now the biggest leadership crisis, maybe in India, let's talk about India, is like, as you said, having intelligence but being a opportunistic mindset, missing out on the foundations.
I will say this is all over. My work takes me and connects me to global leaders. I have seen this short-sightedness everywhere. I don't want to name some of the brands, but I have seen some leaders in the last 8-10 years doing horrific things with well-established brands. Horrific is not the word. Really well-established brands. And they have torn down the destiny of those brands just because, remember the two words I said, coping and copying?
Yeah.
Just because one wanted to cope with the technological changes. Just because they wanted to copy something that others were doing. Destroyed the destiny.
Everybody, I feel, somewhere has a feel that they should not miss out on the bus. Everybody wants to be on that bus.
Foremost everywhere.
I know, and where that bus is taking them, nobody knows.
And this is not just with the Indian youth or the Indian diaspora or the Indian business houses. This is everywhere.
It's a global.
Yeah. And intelligence not working in people's favor is everywhere. Wisdom is a rare commodity. There are wise people all across the world. But there are too far and few. And in most cases, people are not listening to them. And that's what intelligence does. Intelligence makes you stop listening to good advice.
Now that this have something because when I had our first call and you talked about ancient wisdom, and now as you're saying that you need to listen to the good advice, the most important chapter in my life comes from the ancient stories which I'm being raised and I have heard. That's Krishna and Arjuna, that discussion and that talks. So if I have to ask Krishna, you have a lot of knowledge, would like to know, as you said, that you have to listen to people. Because Krishna was telling on that battlefield many things to Arjuna, and Arjuna was like coming back and coming, but ultimately he did what he was supposed to do, the dharma. When it comes to that, so what you feel, if today Krishna has to advise to any startup founder, what do you think that advice will be?
Lovely question. So, Krishna spent his lifetime trying to emulate one very simple thing that, you need good advice. So constantly he was telling people, listen to good advice. So that goes without saying. If you see the whole life, wherever he went, whoever he met, he was constantly telling them to listen, be on the path of dharma, for sure. But if Krishna were to advise businesses, what would he say is, don't grow something unless you are absolutely sure of the fundamentals. Don't scale something if you really don't need it. Okay? And I'll give you two wonderful instances to help you simply understand this. Duryodhana and Arjuna both go to Sri Krishna, inviting him to be a part of their army.
Yes.
Here is a man who believes scale can win everything. Duryodhana. What does Duryodhana ask for? Krishna's army. Right? His Mayavi army. His army which has all the Divya qualities. Arjuna sits quietly. He asks for Madhav. Right? So one asks for scale. The other asks for precision. The other asks for, what we'll call boutique offering. Krishna was a boutique offering.
Complete package.
But that boutique offering was an atom bomb in itself.
Yes.
You take Sri Krishna out of the equation, there is no Mahabharata, there is no fight. He created that whole situation where Pandavas won, despite the fact that they were completely at a disadvantage. Right? It is even said that he chose the place and the timing of the battle in such a way that his food supplies, his army's food supplies were much better planned than the Kauravas were. And there were many other things that he did in that whole space of things. That's the kind of strategist he was. So he was prepared to go to scale and win a battle, whereas the other side just scaled themselves without any real preparation. And you know the fate, right? So at the end of the day, Krishna's biggest advice, and this is something that I say to all business leaders all the time. You're running one boutique shop. Wonderful. Do you need to build a second one? If you need to build a second one, why? I'll give you a very interesting conversation of this couple without disclosing what their business is. I helped them for about 3 years. They're a wonderful couple, very intelligent. Ego gets the better of them, like for most business people. They can't begin to think any less of themselves. And while they were good and built a successful business, their ego is constantly telling them, we want to expand, 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 expand. At one point in time, I asked them this question: why do you want to open a second or a third or a fourth outlet? I said, to make money. How much are you making? Whatever the X amount. Isn't that enough for you? But then, I said, but then what? Do you really need to mop up that money from the market and put somebody else out of business? Do you really need to do that? So if you ask the West, and I remember a conversation with a very famous marketing mind many years back. At that time, I subscribed to that point of view also, which he said. So he said, what is marketing's real job? Or what is a business's real job? Many people answered many things, and he finally clarified to us, it is to put your competition out of business. My question dharmically is it really so? Is it really so? Are you going to survive as a business by putting somebody out of business? By snatching somebody's roti kapda makan? Would you want to do that? Not at all. So then we need to really ask that question. Do you need to scale? Why do you need to scale? Why can't you be happy serving 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 clients really well, doing intense deep work as compared to anything? And that's where the answer is that anxiety gets the better of us. So Krishna's advice of be prepared with fundamentals before you scale, and even ask yourself, do you really want to scale your business? Why do you want to scale it? The question that you need to answer is because on the other side, if you're scaling without fundamentals, if you're scaling just to mop up money, that karma is going to hit back at some point in time.
I love that.
Really doesn't make sense. Yes, if you expand the economy, wonderful. Wonderful. You know, one business example stays with me. I don't know what has happened of it, but this was during the time I was living in Mumbai. I was in Mumbai from 2006 to 2010-11. At that time, the Terminal 1 of the domestic airport had this foot spa, which had employed only ladies and gentlemen who were visually impaired. They couldn't see. The first time I saw a foot spa or any kind of a spa where you had people who came from the specially abled community. Did they expand? Yes. They gave a new opportunity. Those boys and girls, they used to work so hard because there was no distraction for them. They were not looking anywhere. They can't see.
Yeah.
They didn't have to pay attention to anything else, and they had to put their full senses into doing the massage because it was only their hands with which they could feel our feet. They were so focused at it. Great business model. Yeah. There's a certain hotel in India which also employs people who have speech and hearing challenge. They put up, a badge saying, I can't hear or I can't listen. I have visited some of those hotels. It's a very popular Indian business chain hotel. Amazing kids, amazing human beings. They will serve you with such love and care, and just because they can't hear or speak, they are so focused on you just to understand what your gesture is or to get a note from you and then come and quickly serve you. Did this hotel expand the business? Yes, it did.
Yeah, but in a good way.
In a good way. So, you don't have to necessarily put your competition out. All you have to make sure that you're expanding that pie so much so that your economic activity has a social impact and that social impact anyways increases your customer base. The more your customer base increases, the more your business has an opportunity to expand. Fine, if you don't expand, somebody else will get an opportunity to build a business. That's how communities grow. Not everybody has to mop up everything. Well,
Yes.
it doesn't have to get concentrated in a few hands.
I agree. But then it's a very controversial thing. Because as we see, as we grow, I agree with your ideation, but we are being influenced by the Western culture.
Yeah.
Recently, I was in California and I saw a lot of startup happening. Failed startup, new startup, seed funding. But if I have to take out the charts, being a thorough economist, if I have to see and sit down with the real person and ask about the real money, the cash flow, and everything, there's a huge gap. Everything looks lovely, fantastic, oh my god, on the dashboard, but reality is something else.
Yes.
They are filing for the losses every time and then they say bankrupt and then they go away and then the employees are on the road happening.
Yeah.
If I have to see for that and compare Krishna and Arjuna in today's world, if I have to combine that today, as you said that Krishna would advise what to the startup, that don't scale up. But then there's a controversial happening here. People would like to scale up. People are blinded. What one advice as a coach, as a business coach, you would like to give them? Because see, money is a power. It's a Kalyug. We all love money, right? What that one thing that if still they want to scale up, what is one thing they should be taking care of?
Sure. So let's begin with this dichotomy that people who are hell-bent on scaling and they don't want to listen to anybody.
Yes.
So no matter what advice we give them, they're not going to listen.
Yes.
They're going to do what it is. So there is, like I said, 8 billion people and you find all shades of people. There will be certain sections of the population which will want to do the shortcuts, want to go the high, fast way, etc. But if there's somebody listening, and I wouldn't say there is somebody listening, there is somebody who's anyways listening. These are also the people who want to build genuine businesses. Build fundamentals.
Okay.
What are fundamentals of a business?
Yes.
The first and the foremost business fundamental is what is the problem that we are solving, right? Real problem of life, or what is the service that we are offering, right? And this is time and time again being spoken about everywhere. And this problem is not about an opportunity space. Now the difference, the problem that happens is that many people say accessibility, speed, these are problems. They're not speed. They're not issues. Are you really solving something that will make people's life quality better and really add value at the end of the day? Okay, I'll give you 2 examples. Very, very simple. There's a bunch of new age commerce people who have come up who provide all sorts of groceries at your doorsteps. You know the names. And we have also spoken that how they have put kirana stores out of the business and really not created any real employment, just some bike riders, and concentrated wealth in the hands of a few people. Whereas look at some other boutique businesses which have come up in that space. Some of them are delivering pure play organic fruits and vegetables from the farm to the doorstep. Have you solved a problem? Yes, you have. You've taken a perishable commodity, less known commodity from some remote places and you're delivering that. There are a few companies which have come up which are really sourcing farm grown, or rather farm bred cows and milk from them, what they call free range cows and free range meat and all that. They've picked up that free range and that brought that quality to the doorstep. Is it far more expensive than the neighborhood milk shop guy or a meat seller? Yes, it is. Far more hygienic, far more well packed. You've solved some real problem, because hygiene and quality are real problems that the households today are facing, right? So on one hand, you have quick commerce, which is trying to put kirana stores out of business. And on the other side, you have these commerce companies which have sourced and brought to the doorstep real quality products. What have they done? They've solved a real problem. So coming back to your question, what's our advice? Find some real genuine issues like these and solve for that. And while doing that, build a business in which your fundamentals are strong. So that, when you take on these employees who are helping you build that whole supply chain and the whole process, and on one day you don't dump them on the road.
Yes.
Way too many businesses are using human beings is disposable. They're setting up businesses and then end up firing them. Not the right way to do things.
Yeah, karma is building. Yeah, it does.
And we have seen enough businesses bear the brunt of that. And people say, do they not get punished? We don't even realize how people are getting punished. So some of that karma has to bite back. So going back, what do these people do? Build a business with a real core, real focus, real purpose. Get that fundamental straight. And whatever you do with people, do with the consciousness and conscience that tomorrow you don't dump them on the street.
Perfect. So, Mr. Chandra, you worked as a coach. Just like Krishna worked as a strategist, you also one of them. And as Krishna in the battlefield was telling Arjuna, just advising, not telling him, giving the instruction, sharing a conversation. Same happens with you. Would like to know, because same happens with you. There are times when you see a person going down. It's a downfall, you know, and still you're advising. What and how you feel? What are your coping mechanism at that moment? Because you being a coach, there will be many coaches who are listening to it. Even I have worked as a business coach for a certain period of my time, and I know there are times because as a coach we cannot change the course of the time, change the course or the action. We can just advise. With all the facts, we advise. But then the action has to be taken by the person. How you personally deal with that?
Okay. So let's put it into three very clear brackets.
Yes.
The first bracket is any kind of work, whether it is coaching, it is mentoring, it is training them, is it being a consultant to them? Any of these things cannot work unless there is a willingness in the person.
Perfect.
Okay. So one filter that I always keep is that I don't make it my need to help anyone. I can't be running around like a hurt child saying that I want to help, I want help. Why? Why do I want to be a rescuer? I don't want that. So there's one thing that I keep as a principle, which I invite every single human being in this world to do is don't try to become a rescuer for somebody. It has to be the willingness of that person to ask for help and get for help. You can maybe just show them an option saying that, hey, here are 5 things that you can get help with. Would you want to do that? And then it's up to the person, number one. So never violate that criteria. Don't operate without that boundary. Being a rescuer is literally inviting trouble for yourself. Because the other person, from not listening to you, that's just a very tame or very docile way of responding to you. The person can also violently jump back and say, what the hell are you trying to do? I don't need you. Mm-hmm. And then what will happen? Suddenly you will become the victim. No point of going there. The second thing to understand is, there's too much of a fad these days. Every single person thinks that they can become a coach and help the world. Yeah. Ultimately, you have to realize that coaching is not the be-all end-all of solutions. It's just one very small thing. Mm-hmm. Right? The person has to do the heavy lifting. So whatever realm of helping professions come up, whether it is coaching, mentoring, teaching, guiding, training, etc., they're a very small part. And that very small part also has multiple tools. Now, you may be trying to coach somebody and coaching is what? Asking questions, helping the other person's self-awareness come up, their ownership come up, their sense of decisiveness come up. Those are the faculties that you work with in coaching. But that may not be what the person needs. Maybe the person needs knowledge. Now you're trying to coach and the person needs knowledge. It's not going to work. Tons of people and youngsters trying to reach out to you saying, I'm a business coach, I'll try and do this for you. You're not even assessing if the other person has the knowledge to do it, you're perking them up. I've seen so many business coaches create failures for individuals just because they thought that I can coach, I have a model. And then they start offering models of businesses. That's not business coaching. You're mentoring, you're consulting now. Then call yourself a consultant. But to be a consultant or a mentor, you have to be qualified. You should have built businesses yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I always say. People, I have my own experience, so I agree with that.
Yeah. So in my work, I have spent tons of years working with business leaders. I've been a business leader myself. I've delivered services. I've built businesses. I've looked at P&L. I've created savings. Have I done everything in business? No, I have not. Have I done a lot of things? Yes, I have. Do I have an understanding of business 360 degree? Yes, I have. And I'm right now worked in 19 sectors. So it becomes very easy for me to work with people from pretty much any sector. There are people who have zero experience of running a business and they're claiming to be great consultants and coaches. That's not the way to do things, right? So the second side of the story is that coaching is not the only solution. You have training, consulting, mentoring, so many other methodologies using which you can help. If you're not qualified, then walk away from there. You have to know what coaching does. Coaching can only be there if the person has knowledge, exposure, and everything else identified. You're working pretty much on either self-awareness, or you're working on ownership for the person, or you are working with the person to really get them to execute things through decision making. That's the area where coaching works. Otherwise, coaching is not going to work. If the person needs solutions, that can only come from a consultant or a mentor
Yes.
who has been there and done it. If the person needs knowledge, the person needs to go learn things, which is not what your job might be. The person may need to go to a college or do a management development program or some other education, some other training, some other skilling. That's the third side for us to look at, and this is more of the spiritual side of things. There are one too many people who are doing things whimsically. Many people have dropped their careers and they think that they can build a startup or a business. Everybody is doing it, so it becomes fashionable. Let me also do it. And in a world where you have two income households, one of the partners sometimes just quits and says, I will try and build a household. They are really not looking at, am I even cut out for business? Now, what are you cut out for business? The first and foremost thing for any person to build a business is the person has to be either self-driven or can operate under guidance to the T. Then the person has to be capable of starting things on their own. You have to have that energy, that courage to start. You have to have the ability to hold on when situation becomes fuzzy or complex or get things to a solution. You have to connect the dots, drive people, find the right people to do the job. You have to build systems, be disciplined, do this over a period of time. Now, if you look at the Kundali of a person, our Jyotish Shastra in the Indian Vedic system very clearly can help you understand, do you have these qualities or not? Now, if you don't have these qualities, psychology tells you, business wisdom tells you, you can't build a business. Like, if you don't think in systems, you'll not be able to build a business that sustains. You will start something and you'll be random and all over the place. Same thing, in your Kundali, if there are certain positions of the grahas and they tell you very clearly that you will not be a person who will build systems and you will be random, you will be random as a human being. You will not be able to build a system. So whether you take advice and understand how a business is built or a career is built, or you go back to Jyotish and understand from there what your Kundali has to say and then make a decision, that's a third thing that we need to understand, that you have to have the potential and the possibility to do something. Whether it's career, it's theater, it's being a doctor, it's building a business, any of those things.
You're born with it.
Yeah. So come back to your question. The third thing that all coaches and so-called consultants and everybody have to be aware of is also to understand the spiritual wisdom of the human life. Human life has potential and possibilities. Not everybody has the potential to do everything. Not everybody has the possibilities to do everything. All this gyan that gets floated around in the social media that the world is your playground. No, it isn't. The world is not your playground. If the world is your playground, go try and bring peace to a war-ridden country. You'll get shot. World is not your playground. It sounds good. It's just good English.
Yes.
It's just poetic English.
But not a real one.
Take the destiny in your hands and this. No, that's not how life works. You have to eat. You have to clothe. You have to stay protected. If you don't get food, all the startup thing will go out of your head.
I know.
You have to have sustenance somewhere.
You have to pay salary to the employees. I always tell people, there are people who keep asking me, Pragya, you are in such a hurry, you don't make talks. And I'm like, listen, I have people to pay.
Yeah.
They are working for me.
Yeah.
They are my team.
Yeah.
I am accountable.
Absolutely.
And I'm doing it bootstrap. I don't have a seed funding because I don't want somebody to come and put that pressure on them. So if I have... But then again, the problem...
And you know what, Pragya, you said something very, very interesting, and I must say this. For some people, it just doesn't work to take funding.
Yes.
If and I've seen so many people's kundalis, and I keep telling them, you want to build a business, you build it slowly, gently, without taking anybody's money. Do that, you will be successful. The moment you borrow somebody's money, you will fail. It's written in their kundali. And sometimes even business, we have seen this. The other side, which is the hard logic, that the moment you bring in an investor's money, your choice will go down.
It does. It does. And that's the reason so that's my personal thing. I have learned it too. I have a pressure that people say, you can scale up. I'm like, I'm not in a hurry. But you're brilliant. You're losing out on your perfect years. I'm like, why? Because you can be on a magazine. You can be on that show. You can be on TEDx. You can do this. I'm like, it's okay. It will happen when it has to happen. Believe in the universe, faith also. But as you said, money, seed funding. That's a very interesting question, which many people are doing a lot of gapla right now, I will say word. Because I met somebody recently and we did their consultation. And they again a skincare brand and they have taken the seed fundings. Now the problem is that when I met them, I told them a lot has to change on your product, your packaging and your formulation. Because I am myself a biochemistry person, seeing a formulation, we know that it will not work out for Indian people. And then the lady is telling me, sorry, I cannot do that. I've just raised funding. I have to pay them back this percentage. If I do the packaging and everything now, that means I have to take another funding from someone else to make that work. Just imagine what trouble that lady has created for herself.
Not just herself. You know who's going to pay at the end of it? Poor customers.
Yes.
Those substandard products are going to go hit the market, and some poor child, some poor lady, some hardworking man, or some woman who really wants to invest in the right things for her own care, they are the ones who are going to pay. Innocent, well-meaning people.
That's the irony of today's world. So now, if I have to say the biggest leadership lesson, if Krishna has to give and CEOs are ignoring, what is that one lesson to the present modern CEOs which they're ignoring still?
Way too many people are out there operating out of fear.
Fear.
And the one thing that Krishna would always say to anyone is, don't operate out of fear. It just makes you do the worst things in life.
Fear of, I think, losing on to that opportunity which they have.
That could be depending on who the person is. A person who's materially oriented, what do they want? They want money. Their fear is, I will not have enough. They will do everything to get that money. Isn't it? A person who wants power, he says, I can only survive when I have name and fame and power and people need to know me. They need to permanently know me. What will they do? They will try to do all sorts of tantrums to get power in their hand. And then what happens when power comes? Power corrupts. So fear leading to that power. There are some people who want to build scale. Let's take that word. Want huge things. Small doesn't satisfy them. I want huge, big, bigger, biggest. What happened? Satyam happened. You remember? Several years back. In a whole wanting to fight the whole IT system, Satyam created such a huge empire, and then who suffered at the end of it? That was also fear. Right? So fear has many shapes. Fear of not having enough, fear of not having enough power, fear of losing out, fear of not being called the so-called innovator, fear of not being out there on the stage and people following you and millions calling you so and so, fear of not being the talk of the town. I mean, modern life has enough and more of those kind of fears.
Everybody wants to be lifeline.
Different people want different things. Yeah. And there are those people who are simply just working. Like you said, that kid who said 1 CR to 5 CR because I want a flat. There are so many of them who are walking around saying that I want to buy a Bugatti, and the only way I will be able to buy a Bugatti is if I do a startup and I do this and I sell the idea. Recently I met 2 kids. Again, fear of losing out on life. FOMO, major FOMO with money. They had an employment. They had a proper job with a trusting company who had appointed them as engineers, software engineers. My training partner and I met these 2 youngsters at around 4:35 in the morning. That day we had a failed run and we were sitting and trying to have tea. My running partner had fallen unwell that day in the morning. Now suddenly we see these 2 youngsters, 4:35 in the morning, they had been working all night on some startup idea of their own. said, do you guys have a job? I said, yes. When do you need to get to your job? I said, 9 o'clock we start. And do you have flexi hours? Yes, we can report by 10:30. And typically you will work till what, 7:30? Okay. After that we go home, we pick up and we come here and we start working on our startup ideas. We were like, how do you keep yourself awake? He says, we have the bean bags at office and this. So they were actually very happily telling us that they get enough rest at office. I say, what about your productivity? He says, that's how a lot of us are. Look how that organization is suffering. That organization, possibly in their go-to market, is suffering by 50-60% buffer and excesses, because the project manager and all these people have put all these timelines to develop this feature, we will take this much time, etc., etc. And those same people are moonlighting and trying to build a business. What is this happening?
Very common.
Fear.
Yes.
So I think our society is driven by fear, and a lot of that fear is either towards material possessions or power, or then the other thing of the social recognition, the name and fame and all that. Another form of power, but yeah. So that's what Krishna would say, lose your fear. Otherwise it will make you do all sorts of wrong things. It will make you angry, it will make you irritable, it will make you shameless, it will make you do wrong things, unethical things, justify. And the big problem is, I often say this, intelligent people are nothing less than what thieves are. I'm not saying they are thieves, but what will the thief say? The thief knows exactly the things to do not to get caught. Intelligent people are like that.
They are.
Sometimes when they have fear, they will do exactly what they need to do not to get caught. And that's what is destroying our society largely.
Yeah, and even their life in a way, because I have seen the youth right now, because we keep interviewing people for the jobs and all. They just want to start from here, they go there. And I tell them, you know what, I met a girl and she told me, I want to run my own marketing branding company. I asked her, I would like to join us, because I would like to start my own marketing branding company just like you. I said, you even aware how much I'm making? Am I even making anything? Are we profitable? What my model? Another thing, do you even know I have 18 years of work? Have done my own businesses, have lost money. Ask me how painful it was. Would you like to exchange that with me rather than just having a title exchange? Would you like to exchange the experience which comes? Because it was not an easy journey. To which she said, no, I'm not like you. We are different. We are Gen Z. We are different. We are Gen Z. We will not be wasting a lot of time in this. I was like, okay. But you know what I have realized with time? The fundamentals which you are talking about are actually weaken up with the time. People don't understand that everything which you are trying will be needing some kind of investment. It can be in energy form, money, time, your own passion, everything got drains out. But people forget, miss out on that. Now, that is something, if I have to define that in today's world, Krishna being the advisor, the strategist, has to say whatever they have to say, but who is listening? That's another question mark. Arjuna, the founder, have so many possibilities in front of him. Like even on the battlefield, it's a decision paralysis.
Yep.
Which people suffer even in today's world. Like for example, I tell you, personally, I'm that Arjuna who is being told, you're missing out on your life. You don't understand. And everybody, I'm not saying one person, everybody. I get random calls from certain colleges, stage keynote speaker, and recently I just said no to a Gurgaon event because it was not matching my schedule. They were asking me to be in Gurgaon from 6 to 8 p.m. How that can be possible? Somebody random calling me, there's this chapter happening, be a part of it. The thing started sharp 7 o'clock. I'm like, I have a son. That's my dharma. I have to drop him to a school. For me, you need to understand. But I'm being pushed to understand, to make me feel. And sometimes it is not that it never affecting me. It does. There are times, there are black nights when I'm like, oh my God, what if these people are actually right? And I am the one fool sitting here. So now, What is that decision paralysis happening and what you have to say? Because Arjuna faced it and it's happening. What's that happening today? Because you have a very good experience of meeting founders. Second, what is the advice you have to give to them that how to handle their situation?
Sure. So, going back to one of your first questions, which was around intelligence.
Yes.
Something that you said beautifully, that information is so easily available to everybody.
Yes.
The problem begins there. Are you able to even process all the information and do the right things in life? Okay. So a lot of the decision paralysis that exists is because of the lack of processing capability that people have. Now, processing information is not so straightforward. It's not just sitting that looking at cause and effect. You have to look at a context. In a certain context, what information comes in handy, what doesn't, how do I do this, how do I not do this, okay? Like, let's take for example, what you said about people telling you, you are missing out on business opportunities. You brought in the word dharma, right? A thing that people have to ask these days is that, is career the only thing that I have to run? Or there are other aspects. Do I have some dharma towards myself? Do I have some dharma to people in my life, which could be your parents, you could be your life partner, it could be your child, it could be your society. Do you have certain dharma towards some other things, right? Is there someone looking up to? Like if you're living in a society, there are many times that the society itself is trying to do so many things. Are you participating in some of those actions? Do you have a dharma towards your nation? You have, right? Do you have a dharma towards environment? You have, right? Hardly any households today are doing something like composting. They're throwing garbage out there, right? That's also an example of dharma. So coming back and staying with your question, that a lot of people are not aware of what dharma requires, what information, what stimulus, what decision at that point in time. So a lot of this paralysis that you're finding is also because of lack of awareness of what people's dharmas are, and within the dharma, what are the karmas that they need to do. Do I need to take a call right now about speed? Or do I need to take a call right now about quality? Or do I need to take a call right now about cutting this off? They will never be able to do it unless they understand their dharma, understand and the karma within that, boundaries. Right? So, what is the right things to do? What are the right things to do? Within that, what do I need to do? That's one place. The second is the whole hurry syndrome that our culture has today become. Everybody's hurrying. One thing to another thing, to another thing, to another thing. One thing is incomplete, the second thing is incomplete, the third thing is incomplete. How many incomplete things do most of us have on our plates? Enough and more.
Yeah.
So one, as it is, you don't have the clarity of your dharma and karma. On top of that, you have this whole pipeline of incomplete things that is lying there. And many times that incomplete, or everything that is incomplete, is then further adding to your anxiety, your guilt, your aggression of trying to get things done. Often you're pushing others. Like what happens in corporates, you get something to do from your boss, you look at the first team member that you have and pass it on to them saying that get this done. How many things are you going to pass down? Or what if you don't have a team member? What if you don't have a team member who's capable enough? There's so many questions to ask. This happens so many times in businesses also. The business leaders want to execute so many things, but there's nobody to handhold it. Right? So things remain incomplete. So the second place where a lot of this paralysis is the incomplete tasks that are piled up. We have a lot of pipeline which is preventing us from moving forward. More we pile on our plate. Yeah. Right? So what we really need to then understand is how much do we really need to bite off? And that will never be clear unless you balance your dharmas and your karmas. You have to balance how much time do I have in life. At the end of the day, you have 24 hours. Of the 24 hours, if you take sleeping, healthy sleep, eating, taking care of your body, etc., you will typically have about 12 to 14 hours gone, including travel, etc. How much productive time do you have left after that? 10 hours. You have to, and this is something that works for everyone. Every human being needs to ask this question, what can I achieve in 10 to 12 hours in a day? And do that. Because if you exceed work for more than that, then you're going to kill several other aspects of your life, from yourself to your partners to your home. And if you think that once I become successful, then I am going to come back and do these things,
It's gone.
because in between, somebody is going to start shouting that these things are incomplete. Could be your spouse, could be your parents, could be your friends, could be your own organization. And that is going to add trouble to that. So, indecision, lack of dharma and lack of karma, understanding of that, then all the incomplete things that are piling up, so your attention is constantly wavering. I would lock it under these two things. If people can sort out a clear understanding of what do I need to do, what do I need to operate on, principles of life. So what's the solution? Be clear with the principles of your life.
Yeah. Who you are and what you want to be.
What do you need to do? What are your
Yes.
different dharmas? What are your different karmas? So one is principles of life. The second is finish what you start.
Oh, I love that line. Finish what we start.
Yeah. And even if it is that saying that, okay, now this thing doesn't need to be done anymore, I'm going to get it out of my life, just get it out of your life. But finish what you start. Don't keep 20 things hanging around. All of that is going to add pressure to you. If something of your family is taking attention, finish it off. Then come to this. Then finish that off, come to that. Don't bring work home. Don't bring home to work. You have to learn those habits. But much of that is going to take life management.
Yes. And I think regulating your own emotions.
Right. I'm not even going to another favorite topic of mine where I keep saying that you have to have Shuddhi, which is your body needs to be clean, your mind needs to be clean. In today's world, the kind of food that we eat, the kind of intoxicants that we consume, much of that is also adding on to the indecisiveness. So I'm not even going to those angles. The amount of drinkers and smokers and ill health. But yeah, you know this. How many people today in this world are obese or unhealthy? Enough and more people have lifestyle diseases, which then means that your brain is not getting enough oxygen, enough nutrition. Do you think a brain without enough nutrition and oxygen can operate at its optimum?
No, it cannot.
What does it result into? Indecision.
Yes.
Decision paralysis. So I'm not even going there to the physiological and mental health issues. That's the other side of the story. Right? These are the software aspects. The not knowing the dharma or having incomplete things in life, that's just the softer aspects. The harder aspects of life are your body, your mind, your life itself.
I think even those are the fundamentals of life.
Absolutely. They are the fundamentals of life actually.
Your life starts from those fundamentals.
I am not going in that direction right now because a lot of people don't like, being pointed out that they are overweight or they are unhealthy. They have got these justification names for it. We are large size or whatever. Or some of them say that, we are very comfortable in our bodies. Okay, if you're comfortable with the diabetes in your body, fine. You're comfortable. What to do?
See, that's what I've felt, that with time, with all the exposure happening to us, with all the knowledge which we have gained, we've become a more smart cheater.
Defensive.
Yes, we can defend ourselves
Oh, yes.
with all the facts.
Perfect.
And that's how we are hampering our own growth.
Absolutely.
Because you're getting so comfortable with your zone that you don't understand that there's something which you can do for yourself. Now with this I have to ask you, we all are having our battlefields, right? Founders also having their battlefields. They have their things. There are times when, see, I keep meeting people thanks to the nature of my job and everything. I started asking people. Recently, I met a very interesting person. Why accidental entrepreneur? Right? And then the story came back that COVID happened. I wanted to do this. I could not do that. Ultimately, I ended up being into a business. Now, it's not even the life choice. It's a circumstance choice. For those kind of people, their battlefields are very different. And they have a very different dilemma. They don't have a decision paralysis. They have to do it because they don't have any option. What framework of mind you think they need to have, because when they don't know what to do next? What you will advise to those people?
So, for anyone trying to run a business, one of the most critical things is to know end-to-end how your system is going to operate. Okay. So, if you are in a place where there is no other option, but to run a shop or a small business or a factory or deliver some service, or you have to do some trading of some sort or whatever. There are tons of options of small businesses, small to medium sized businesses. You fix your mind on getting your system right. And a system means, number one, you are not doing everything.
Delegate.
Right?
Okay.
Not just delegate, but find the right people to do the right things. Right? Number two, connect everything together through clear processes. Right? An organization can succeed or fail based on the kind of processes it runs. Edward Deming, the father of quality, used to say this, that at one point in time, that 97% or 96 or 97% of the failures of an organization are process issues, not people issues. So you fix the process. Sometimes people with ordinary skills can do extraordinary things when you have the right process connecting them. Right? So find the right people to do things. Don't do everything yourself. Find the right processes to do it. And at every process checkpoint, check the quality that you're delivering. That's what a system is. So system is an interconnected set of roles, responsibilities, processes, things to do with checks and controls. Build that. Build that system. It's like an architecture. So you build a house. When you build a house, you don't just build the four walls and say, okay, this is a house. Build rooms. You build section where you will sit, section where you will cook, section where you have the washrooms, sections where you will sleep. You build balconies or whatever else you build. All of that is, the way you're looking at life. And then you live in that in a certain systematic way. I will keep things here. I will lay things here. This has to be placed in this place. This is where it is. Orderliness. Even that is a part of system. Create a system. So if you have no other choice but to run a system, whether it's a shop, it's a factory or whatever, build systems. Or take somebody's help and build systems if it is unclear to you. And just operate the system in a very disciplined way.
Discipline is another key point here.
First you have to get the system in place and then be disciplined around it. Many people tell me, I'm very disciplined. I tell them, disciplined within what? What are your parameters of discipline? No, I do my daily work every day. Now, that is just called adherence. Following your daily schedule. Adherence is not equal to discipline. Discipline starts with knowing what is the right thing to do. And that's where a system comes in. So my simple advice to anyone who has no other choice but to run an environment or a system or an organization is build a system. You could be an accidental leader, you could be an accidental politician, you could be an accidental institutional head, you could be an accidental business owner. Build a system and run things with the system. You are not the most important thing in the system. The system is more important than you.
Perfect. So if I have to say and I have to sum up the modern confusion of Arjunas in today's world, what will be that modern confusion you feel?
Lack of systems. And you take the confusion away by creating a system of things.
It sounds good. I will be talking with my fellow people. Recently I was out on a coffee with one of my friends. She runs her own business and everything. Lately she asked everybody to be off from it. She got AI agent to do the calling. She didn't do a service industry and all. She got somebody and ChatGPT Pro and everything Pro. And now I was asking her, how's the business going? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And I was like, why? What happened? What changed? 6 months back, I got all the subscription. And now if I have any problem, I go back to them. My fellow teammates, I ask them and they reply to me. Now, that's what modern people are doing. They're building system using AI. They don't have experience out here. Okay. They're sitting on a ChatGPT. Even I'm being forced to do that. Somebody was asking me to address a keynote speaker and I said, I have not done the framework. And the person told me, open ChatGPT, go for a framework. I was like, I cannot come up with a framework without having experience. I cannot do that. It sounds good, but I'm a cliche, big cliche in the whole society. I cannot do that. But I'm being told that on a modern version, this is happening. What your take on it, on the AI, that giving you a framework and system, because you mentioned system. People are not using the experience to build a system, which I believe you also happens to believe that. For me, system comes from the experience. What do you have to say about that?
Do you own one of the modern cars or modern phones?
Yeah.
Do you know what all features are there in the car and the phone?
Yeah, we spend another half an hour almost on a weekend drive just to explore them.
But you still may not know everything that is
No,
there.
we don't.
The AI world is exactly like that. No matter how cool you are, no matter how Gen Z you are, no matter how techie you are, no matter how geeky you are, you'll never know the entire AI ecosystem. And hence you will never know the validity, the accuracy, the thoroughness of the outcome it gives you. Okay. You have a cold, you tell the AI all your symptoms, it'll give you the diagnosis. How do you know that the medicine that it's going to ask you to take is the right medicine? You need a doctor for that.
Yeah.
Take any profession for that matter of fact, you go and ask for advice. How do you know that the advice that you're getting is holistic? How do you know what is the right point to start? Even if it is telling you here is the starting point, how do you know that it is right for you in your life? Right? AI is a beautiful solution that has come up for this world, but you have to understand that that AI also has to fit in within a system where you know what are your real life factors, and then you ask the right questions, use the right filters, but ultimately the artificial intelligence has to be intelligently managed by human intelligence.
Yeah.
Now, can people ignore this and do things? Yes, there are enough and more people pretending that they have built successful businesses. They've done that till such time that something really breaks or the hell breaks loose, and when they don't know how to fix things. Ultimately, at the end of the day, most of the AI is simply just code. It is sitting on a computer. What about those tasks which are out there in the real world? How will you develop those skills? How will you develop those dexterities? Right? So again, comes back to this whole thing that there's a bunch of people who are willing to take the shortcuts and make the fast buck. The jury is still out, not out yet. So let's see how many of them survive. Let's see how many of them become wise and shift. At the end of the day, I will again say this, that nothing great gets built in one day or a few days. Anything that got suddenly built then possibly was either too shallow or too unimportant in the larger scheme of things. And these are also things that survive. In the nature, an elephant also survives. The mosquito also survives. The biggest parasite human beings are also surviving. That's what nature is. That's what the laws of nature are. Everything survives up until its lifespan finishes.
Yes.
Let's focus on what we can control. So even with systems, no matter who is doing, let them do whatever they are doing. Let them do it. What you want to do, you ask yourself, what are the fundamentals of this, and run it. Whether it's a bakery you want to run, or you want to run a manufacturing unit, or you want to go into defense production, or you want to start a cosmetics company, you have to work with the fundamentals of that and do the right things. If you don't work with the fundamentals, at some point in time, you will have challenges. You can use as much of AI as possible. But if you don't do your skincare products right, someday you will have a lawsuit sitting on your head. End of story.
That is true. And it's so nice to being remembered one thing. It's all about having a vision. Understanding is not a snap up a finger. Never about snap of a finger. It might happen for 1-2 people out of all these big group of people.
And Pragya, the thing is that does every business today or any day need to have a purpose behind it? No, it doesn't. There are many businesses which are built on opportunism.
Yes.
Quick bucks, money, collect the money, exploitation. Right? On one side, you have the biggest business in this world, which is mafia. Was mafia built with a business, with a purpose? No. Mafia was built because they wanted to make a quick money. Parallel economy. How many mafias are there in the rest of the world and the business today? Enough and more. Right?
They will never go away.
They will never go away. So, the same thing happens with business. You can pick up any opportunity and convert that. Any greed and convert that into a business. That's the world that we are living in today. Enough people, enough resources, enough ways of doing things. Is that the right way of life? That's a moralistic question every human being needs to ask.
And
Can
that's
we-
a personal compass.
Sometimes it also becomes a societal compass because there are also laws and checks and balance. Because what happens is you start with a shortcut and you soon start justifying it up until you get on the wrong side of morality or law or something goes wrong.
It does.
So that's what each person to ask that question. The what do they want to do? And the consequence of, because every action has a consequence.
That means your dharma and your business are related to, and when they correlate and when you co-live in that perfectly environment, you as a business owner, because many complain that, oh, we have a sleepless night and many things. I think if your dharma and business, because that's your karma, it's correlated, you can build up something really beautiful, sustainable, and maybe, if possible, generational wealth. Because with all given time and values, what I'm seeing, people have forgotten about generational wealth. Something which I need to pass on, some name which I need to pass. I feel proud taking my name, the full name. I'm very proud of it because I have got my wisdom, my DNA, my genes from them. So I feel that is also a correlation which will be happening soon. Okay.
Revenue is important when you set up a business. You have to hire up that eye on the number because at the end of the day, you have to pay the bill. And the bills are many. From the supplies that you have, to the employees that you have, to the technology that you use. So, is chasing revenue important? Yes, it is. But very soon, in a business's life, the choice has to be made that is it only revenue or quality of revenue that we have to look at. And at some point in time, businesses have to learn to graduate to quality of revenue. Now, quality of revenue for some could be looking at subscription models, not just one-time usage. Quality of revenue for some could be not just looking at a product model, but a product plus service model, or not just a service model, but a service plus product model. Quality of revenue could also be looking at something as a bigger ticket item, focusing on the larger ticket instead of just volume customers. Or it could be the other way around, that you are looking at volumes of customers, but you're providing real value at a subsidized cost for that. So quality of revenue could be coming from different angles. It's a graduation that every business has to do. Right? If you don't do that graduation, if you don't move to a bigger ticket item, or if you don't move to delivering value at scale, or if you don't move to a point where you cut down scale and look at niche, any of these kind of models, at some point in time, you will start outliving the utility of the initial business model. Revenue is not everything in business. We have to look at quality of revenue. You have to look at what is the longevity that your business building into the business model itself. That's the focus that we need to have.
But if I have to think about that, what's happening right now? Revenue means founder's result. That's a founder result. That's a way the founder is showing to the world, listen, I'm capable enough. That's a, you can say, report card they have to show. And now founders have started attaching, like it's a ego, you can say.
Yes.
You can say it's a boost they get when they see their quarter doing good. Maybe those are fake number, boosting number, whatever. If people are so ambitious in getting those number achieved, they don't understand dharma, karma, anything. They just go for that I want that. What about that? What do you have to say about that?
Nothing. I have no point of view for them. Let them do whatever they want. See, it's as simple as that. Like I said earlier also, if somebody doesn't want to listen, they will not. If they want to play their short game, they will play their short game.
You being the Krishna out here, you will just advise.
It's just not about being the Krishna at all. See, sometimes we have to let the candle burn. Only then will the candle realize the power of heat. And the candle has to realize that at some day, the wax is going to end. Every candle has its life. Someone who's a bystander doesn't have to go and, put that candle off and say, hey candle, I will prevent you from burning. Why? That's not our karma to do. So it will be. For us as professionals, it's important to focus on who asks for help and provide them help. That boundary has to be kept. That's my simple take on that.
The willingness to ask for the help. And
Somebody's boosting numbers, let them boost. It's all right. It's all right in their world. In their world, they will also have their benefits and their consequences. It's all right. We don't have to worry about everything. We don't have to boil the ocean. We don't have to change the whole world. Change what comes under your influence.
Oh, I like that. So if you have to say, and I have to believe that, we need not to attach everything to a result. If we are running a business, something like that, can I assume it?
Well, if you understand the laws of nature, we also say that we propose and God disposes.
Yes.
And that happens in nature all the time. You set out to do one thing, you may not achieve that, but you may achieve something totally different. And that's a lesson that all entrepreneurs, business leaders, professionals, each one of us need to understand. Some of us set out to build a wonderful family, we end up in a divorce.
Yeah.
Some of us end up having a child just so that the child can be the next best version of us. The child turns out to be worse. Some of us go get a job so that we can have a great career, but we end up gaining stress out of it. There's somebody else who is hardly interested in working, goes and figures out that their passion was actually working, and they make great lives simply by doing service and work. So we propose, God disposes. Nature has its own way, God has its own way. So that's the way to look at life.
I think we cannot fight our own destinies.
No, that's not even the question. We can't even fight day to day. We
Yes.
can do just our best. Do your potential, look at your possibilities. What has to translate will. There are people who became kings and queens. They never wanted to do it, but they still had to do it. And there are people who wanted to be kings and queens and they never got there.
They never got the chance.
That's what life is. So you understand your dharmas, which is your context. The paristhiti that you have, the context and the situation of life. Within that, do whatever the best you can and let life unfold for you. We've forgotten that softer way of living life. It's very important now.
It is. Now I will be asking you some rapid fire question. And the whole ideation is that we want you to answer them with your experience and the wisdom. So the first one, here it goes. What one business belief everyone accept that you think is wrong? I know it's gonna be controversial, but it's still.
No. So my take is the speed. The whole belief that speed is the only way business can be done. And that's a very bad belief that we have gotten into this world at this point in time.
I'm very happy because you are here, and now everybody who is from my community, who is a friend of mine, please listen to it. Some experienced person is saying the same thing. I'm so happy.
So the thing is that you have to follow the laws of nature. You have to give things time. What takes time takes time. I'll say that 1,000 times if I have to repeat it. What takes time takes time. You cannot beat the clock in nature. So to understand whatever business you are in, if it's going to take days, if it's going to take weeks, if it's going to take months, give it that time. You try to shortchange it, something that you will shortchange somewhere.
We cannot beat ourselves for that. What's the most dangerous emotion for a CEO?
I've said this earlier in today's show, which is fear.
Yeah.
Because fear is one thing that then manifests in all sorts of things. Fear can manifest in anger, fear can manifest in manipulation, fear can manifest in, all sorts of unethical choices. Fear can make us do things that are crazy at times.
Okay. This is my favorite question because I'm being told a lot the same thing. Can kindness make someone a weak leader?
Not at all. Not at all.
Perfect.
The only thing that we have to understand is that kindness has to have its boundaries.
Yes.
Right? If we know the context of being kind, if we know the context of how much to be kind, when to be kind, where not to be kind, and that knowing the context is again coming to viveka, wisdom, or the discretion of knowing the right from the wrong. Any human behavior or skill or emotion applied with the right kind of viveka can give good results. If you don't have the viveka to do it, the wisdom to do it, but it can be a very bad thing to do.
Yeah. But I'm happy you do believe in kindness because as a person I do, and I'm being told this is a bad trait.
It's a value. Compassion is a value that this world needs
Badly in this.
very badly. Everyone seems to be thinking that my world, my problem, my needs are the biggest.
Yeah.
In fact, the human race that we are today, we need to have compassion. And compassion for
everything in this universe, every living and every non-living thing. Compassion towards other human beings, compassion towards what we today call our nations and our identity, compassion towards our family, everywhere. And without kindness, what will you be? You'll only be a hunter.
Yes.
Right? So kindness doesn't make you weak. You have to have a context. You have to have a boundary. Is kindness the only thing with which you operate? Then you will be like one tool to operate everything. That cannot be. So along with kindness, you have to have the understanding of when to apply that kindness, the context, the viveka, the wisdom to know here is a time to be kind, whereas there is another point in time you have to also learn to deny somebody.
Yes.
There has to also be the act that you have to be courageous enough at times to stop and say that I won't help. So that's not the only tool. So it requires viveka to apply kindness or compassion in the right fashion. And then you need to have other tools also with which you make life's decision and run life.
Oh, that's perfect. Now, is ambition becoming today's biggest addiction?
It is.
It is.
Because the first and foremost thing that ambition does to you is it makes you recognize only that which is material.
Yeah.
Right? So you're either going after the tangibles, which means for which you need money, or the intangibles for which you have to do things to get your power, fame, this, that, and the other. There are so many things in this world which don't come in that. Like there are small little joys of life. There are small little elements of life like silence and solitude and so much else that is getting ignored. Many people are today ignoring many of their dharmas just because their ambition is getting them fueled in their career space.
Yes.
And look at what it is doing to us. You're ambitious, you want to get to places on time. You end up in road rage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're ambitious, you want to work long hours. What does that make you do? It ends up with bad relationships and mismanaged homes. There are parents today who have barely seen their children in the last I don't know how many months and decades and sometimes. So, I mean, let's not even go there. The kind of challenges that exist. So, ambition is living a loop-sided life completely.
Yeah.
It's completely only locking onto one aspect of our life, which is career and the material wealth from there, or the intangibles, power, etc.
Success has been defined in a very wrong manner. What is the costliest leadership mistake you have seen people making nowadays?
Hiding the truth. Right? So, you have to stop doing the town hall things and telling people that we will get it done together. You have to look people in the eye and say, this is going to be damn difficult to do. Let's do it anyways. We're going to bleed when we do this. Or you have to tell the truth and say, this is not going to work. I made a mistake by choosing this. Let's step back. Or tell them the truth that, look, we may have wanted to do this in 3 quarters, but it's not going to be possible in 3 quarters. Let's push the go-to-market by another 2 quarters.
Yeah.
And so many other places where you have to speak the truth. Yeah? Be ruthless on bad behavior. Be ruthless on lack of values. But for all of these things, you have to first be truthful to yourself. And one of the things that we discussed in today's conversation was intelligence never allows you to be truthful to yourself. To be truthful to yourself, you have to have wisdom. Or you have to have that wisdom as guidance given to you, which you need to listen to then. So, not speaking the truth, not living the truth, which means facing the facts of life at the right time. That is one of the biggest problems of people.
And I think it's also a personality trait because you have to have that acceptance.
In some cases could be, in some cases could also just be the fact that you're trying to conform or you don't want to give in. So yes, there are people who by nature are deceptive. So it is a personality aspect of things. But then there are others who are learning it from their environment, who are being told just because to fit in, you have to do this. So their need is coming from a different place. It's not a personality trait because of which they are lying or hiding, but because they want to fit in and be socially acceptable, they're doing it. Then there is a bunch of people who don't have the courage to do it. It's another aspect of it. So there are multiple personality traits which end up making you hide the truth, but necessarily it may not be that lying is natural to you.
And that's why some of these people pray at some point in time come and break the silence also. No, they said, I have had enough of it. I can't speak the lie anymore.
Yeah.
Whistleblowers come up, or
They do.
people who create change comes up. So yes, there are psychologically, sociologically, there are people who are adept at lying, and it's a part of their personality, but it's not natural for everyone.
It's not a generalized statement.
Yeah.
So what's more dangerous, ego or fear?
Are they different is the question.
That's another perspective we would like to know from you.
See, look at it this way. Ego is what? Ego is, or let's say being egoistic. Ego is good. In psychology, we say that ego is an assessment of, reality. So it's ego function. But then when you are self-centered, egoist or egotist, or, if you're egomaniacal or any of those other aspects, you consider yourself to be more important than anything else. Your point of view to be more important than anything else.
Yeah, my way or highway.
Right? And what is that? Where is that coming from? It is all control.
Yes.
Yeah. And why do you want to have control? Because you fear losing control. Fear. At the end of it, it's fear. So anyone who is egocentric, egomaniacal, or any of those other spectrums of the ego, what we call showing up, ahankara, showing up, there is fear at the end of it. Someone who is settled and who understands the laws of nature, they may experience fear, but they will face their fears and they will discover what is there. They will be vulnerable at the end of the day. Right? Someone who is fearful is always egoistic. Someone who faces their fear, they will build the vulnerability. They will have humility in them.
That's the best trait to have, to be humble. What's one lesson every 25-year-old professional right now should learn? What you feel? What is one lesson?
Mastery. Pick up one or two things and really become a master at it. If you're learning engineering, become a great engineer. Engineer's job, solve problems. Right? If you want to invent things, go become a scientist. But be a great scientist at that so that you can invent something great. Right?
Perfect.
You want to become a great teacher, master that. You want to become great at business, then master that. And mastery here doesn't mean reading 1,000 books. Mastery here means knowing what really needs to be known, having the right kind of exposure and the experience of doing it. Mastery doesn't come in 1 or 2 days. Mastery doesn't come in a few months. Mastery takes years and years of practice.
It does.
Mastery sometimes also comes by you learning from the masters.
Yes.
So you have to find masters and learn from them.
To find a right master, that's also a...
Well, none of us will ever be capable of knowing whether a master is right or not. Because if you knew that, then you will be a master yourself. I would only say, if you find somebody with decent enough capabilities, learn the good things from them, leave out the bad, go to the next person from whom you can learn the good things, and just keep on learning. No master will ever be perfect. If a master claims to be perfect, then there is something wrong there. I would say there is no one who's a master who will ever be perfect at everything. Krishna didn't claim that he was perfect. He had his imperfections, and that's why he gave his life at the end of it. Right? He chose to pass on by being killed by an arrow. He chose that because he knew he was imperfect in that life. Right? And so are so many other people. So no master will ever claim that they are perfect. In fact, a master will tell you, learn what you can from me and then go find another master. Up until someday they said that you are qualified enough to be a master. Even when you become a master, you'll only be qualified enough. So none of us will ever know that if a master is the master. So if you kind of come across somebody who you can learn from, just learn that even one lesson you can learn. That's enough. That is your master. On that day, that place, that's your master.
Perfect thought. So if we could remove one word from the corporate culture, what would that be?
I'll give you a few on the list there.
Okay.
One of the first things I would want corporate leaders to remove is low-hanging fruits. Please remove them from your vocabulary. When you go for low-hanging fruits, you will only take shortcuts. You will only put band-aids in life. You will never do the deep, serious work, lasting work. If you want to build a lasting company, get rid of the low-hanging. Should you do some of these low-hanging? Yeah, keep it when your team is really tired. Those days when you have absolute zero motivation, then do some of these low-hanging things
because you'll get quick results, quick motivation, isn't it?
Yes.
So take that one thing out. The other thing I'll encourage them to do is take out multitasking. The human brain has been proven that it cannot multitask. There's nothing called multitasking. You can do serial processing, but when you focus your attention on multiple things, you're only going to lose attention on everything. Remove that. And this has been popularized so much in resumes and JDs. Nothing called multitasking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remove that. It's a very, very bad problem, right? And then this whole call for agility and speed, it has to be tempered down. There is a place to be agile. Like in learning, you should be agile. You should learn on the fly. But doing everything in an agile way sometimes brings too much of madness. We need a madness within the method, not method within the madness. Right? Have a method. Within that, you can be agile. Right? But if everything is just constantly changing, then you're creating a whirlwind of an issue. Yeah? So I would say, you asked for one, I would say, these are my 3 picks. The first one is a phrase, let go of low-hanging fruits, do deep, serious work. Second is, forget this whole thing that there is multitasking. There isn't. The human brain needs focus. Bring in focus into the whole thing.
Perfect.
Right.
Now, my favorite of all question, AI will never replace what?
I don't know. I don't want to get into that speculation, but there is one thing that I simply want to say. Let not AI replace your moral judgment. That's what I would say. Because if our morality gets replaced by AI, then there will be really, really no turning back. If we offload our judgment to AI, then it will be bad. Can AI replace our judgment? It is already doing that. For many people, like you said, your friend who's bought all the AI subscription and then trying to do the business. So what is she doing? She's literally outsourcing her decision making and judgment to AI. That is something that shouldn't happen. So I would rather say that it shouldn't happen. Could it? Given in the hands of irresponsible people, it can. But I would only say that AI must never replace our morality and our moral judgment, our ethics.
Perfect.
When it does
So,
that, it's a dangerous place.
if I have to sum up everything which we have talked in the last few hours, I will say from you as a person who understands leadership, performance, productivity, the battlefield of running a business in this modern age, am I right to sum up that leadership is a quality which you acquire, but you are also born with it? And then you have to keep coping up in a nicer manner, not in a shortcuts. Am I right here?
Well, let me just smoothen it up a little further. You're largely in the right direction. The way I define leadership is, number one, it is a very deliberate act. Deliberate because it takes thinking, it takes feeling, and it takes proper action to do an act of leadership. And an act of leadership is something that others will recognize as being truly contributive to the situation or the people involved. So those 2 criteria that we need to really apply to leadership is, number one, is it a very deliberate act or not? Which means it's thought through based on values. And is it really creating a contribution to the situation and the people involved in that or not? If it passes those 2 criteria, then it's an act of leadership. If it
Perfect.
doesn't, then there is a problem. A lot gets passed on in today's world as leadership. Some is activism. Some is basically just manipulation. The other is show business. And that's a lot today in this world. Rahu-driven world, you'll find enough and more of show business.
Oh, a lot is there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that we had this conversation, Sai, because I think all the people who are listening to it, everybody needs to understand, though we have a short time happening, everybody wants to be a part of limelight, but something if you genuinely wants to grow, pass on to the generation, or build something for the society, it takes time.
Takes time.
Slow down. There's no harm in slowing down. We are not missing out on any bus.
Yeah.
Just that the social pressure is there. However, there will be a perfect opportunity. If it's written for you, if it's your destiny, it will happen to you. I always believe that. And that's how the world is. Thank you so much for coming here, for spending time with us, for giving us all this key points, something which we will be taking home, which I will be taking personally home, more clarity which I also needed. So thank you so much for coming here.
Absolute pleasure. May the long game go on for a long time. And I would also say to people that play the long game. That's the best way to play the game.
I'm so happy that you said that because I kept that name intentionally. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for all the people who are listening to this, you must be listening to it maybe while driving a car, maybe while going out for a walk, maybe with your team, anywhere. The only key point which you have to understand, nothing builds up overnight. The moment you realize that everything will be perfect for you, because then you will have a clarity what you have to do next. So thank you everybody who is watching here, and thank you once again.